So after rapper 50 Cent says that he's going to support Trump because he doesn't want high taxes on one of Biden's plans, Chelsea Handler comes out and says that she had to remind 50 Cent that he's black, so he should be voting for Joe Biden.
I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him.
Candace Owens then jumps in Chelsea Handler's behind and ridicules all leftists who think that, on the one hand, they are the least racist people in the country. They're on the side of the black people. They cozy up to the black people. Well, what do you do with that cozy, warm little closeness? And maybe even you guys get, an N-word pass from your black friends from time to time. But what do you do with that? What you do is act like that traditional crab in the barrel, and you hold black people back. You hold them back. You limit them. And Chelsea Handler limited all black people by equating their blackness itself to some political imperative to support the Democrat Party. You're not free enough. And Candace Owens really made a good point about that, how you see yourself as not being racist, you on the left, but you're very racist.
If you can't understand why all black people don't think alike, and you get angry when a black person doesn't think the way you think they're supposed to think, it's not because you care about black people. It's because you're a racist and you're a narcissist, and you really think that black people exist to make you feel good about yourself. So, if you're out there and you're pounding your fists and you're saying Black Lives Matter and black people need to be heard, and then somebody shares a Candace Owens video and you go, oh, not that kind of black person, then you don't actually care about what black people think or what experiences black people are having, and you don't want black people to have voices. You just want black people to echo what you think so you can look cool in front of your white friends who you want to call a racist. That's what racism is. Using black people as props to get the world to echo what you think. It's a little bit of racism mixed with a little bit of narcissism to equal a modern day white liberal.
It's actually part of Marxist strategy. Marxist strategy relies on the so-called have-nots. I should say perturbing have-nots. But this perturbation and the idea that it would work in the first place is very disrespectful of that social group that's being targeted and perturbed as the have-nots. It's very disrespectful because it assumes in advance that those people would be willing to do destructive things on behalf of the Marxists. Aside from that, Chelsea Handler said if 50 Cent goes back towards Biden's side, she'll go for another roll in the hay with him, another round. She'll go another round with him, which basically means she'll start having sex with him again.
I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump. I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
Now, if you look at it, 50 Cent's stated motives were financial. So what Chelsea Handler was saying is, I'll give you some vagina, and in return, you're going to relax this concern about your money leaving you due to high taxation. In other words, let your money go, and I'll give you vagina. That's exactly what it is. But here's what I want to say about it. Do you know why you Democrats have to go so low? Because your philosophies don't pan out. Marxists, communists, they always push for the same stuff even though it's been tried 22 times and failed. You're not scientific at all. No, you're not scientific at all. And anybody who's going to push something for a stated reason, okay, you state that we're going to have some sort of a utopia. But when you don't actually get the effects that you said we would, why is it that you would continue to promote that bullshit utopia? Don't think we don't know. Maybe you don't even realize why you do that. One, socially, you're in cool with a bunch of people who are galvanized by that creed. So you don't want to let go of the creed because your card in those communities would be revoked. Okay, so you have some bullshit social motive. But in addition to that, the ruling class in Marxist structures actually have it better than the rest of their countrymen because they're the people who get the credit for protecting the system itself. Now, even when the system doesn't really work, they still get credit. What could break up this idea that they should be celebrated as the people who protect the system? Well, information about other systems from the outside break up that narrative. This is why Marxists have to have iron curtains and burn books so that people cannot scientifically compare the results from competing political systems. And this is why they dumb down the masses with different addictions. And sex is one of them. You know, the more immoral sex a population will have, the greater their dependency, the greater their desperation. If their level of desperation is very high, even if they find evidence that, you know, their leaders are plotting against them, they'll turn the other way just to get another handout. So Marxists actually don't mind that their people are in despair. And this is why North Korea is so fucked up. I'm telling you why North Korea is so fucked up. They block most informative web sources for their own people. Communists being in bed with Google, communists being in bed with Facebook have taught Google and Facebook some of their methods, and those methods have been practiced in this election cycle. Why? Because the truth doesn't actually support their philosophy. And when the masses find out that there are better philosophies that have better results, they'll take the pain of the Marxist philosophy to move from the Marxist philosophy to anything else. They have to have a clamp on information. And this is why I'm saying, if you noticed, the Democrat Party this year used fear, sex, Chelsea Handler, and the fear of being ostracized, political correctness, and dishonest media to back it. When Black Lives Matter ignored the death of a little girl, when Black Lives Matter ignored the death of a black cop, it was clear that Don Lemon was saying to Terry Crews, Black Lives Matter is not about all black lives.
The Black Lives Matter movement was started because it was talking about police brutality. If you want an all Black Lives Matter movement that talks about gun violence in communities, including, you know, black communities, then start that movement with that name. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. It's not an all-encompassing.
So what this means is the media is helping this false idea that all lives matter or all black lives matter. Only some black lives matter, the Black Lives Matter organization. The lives that mattered to the Black Lives Matter organization were the ones that they could use in their political maneuverings. If the fresh dead body of a black person wasn't valuable for their narrative, they didn't care about it. So Black Lives Matter was highly political. And the media helped them. This is a form of dishonesty. When you call something Black Lives Matter, but not all black lives don't really matter. And when you want to drill down and you want to expose the fact, like Terry Crews did, that Black Lives Matter doesn't really care about all black lives. It's only some black lives that matter. This type of games is a form of lying to the people. So we see Chelsea Handler thinking that we're dumb enough to just let our money get ripped off by a 62% tax rate if we could just get some vagina. And then you see Don Lemon chastising Terry Crews to relent, give up his rational mind, and let Black Lives Matter be whatever it is, even though it's completely irrational. They want you to be afraid, they want you to be sexually addicted, and they want you to be afraid to veer away from the political correctness that they conveniently, with the media spin, get to set up. They're the party of the fall of man. As in the garden, the archangel Lucifer lied to Eve, fell with her sexually, and the two of them made Adam think that it was cool to follow suit. They multiplied evil. So that do not empower Satan any longer. His time has come. So breathe deeply, leftists. Relax. Wake up from that satanic spell. Life may be hard, but you don't have to sell your soul to the devil. Vote Donald Trump.